Hey everybody, Adam Davidson, RadCast for Monday, January 16th, 2023. Statistically, we're all afraid. We're going to talk about fear this week on RadCast, so I hope I didn't frighten you with the jump scare. It wasn't even that good of a jump scare, but let's start in the scripture. Here's Isaiah chapter 41, verse 10. So do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. And that's the word of the Lord. This week on RadCast, we're going to talk about fear. I'm not exactly sure why, but it hit me really hard yesterday that this is the direction we're supposed to take. But for this series on fear to work, I'm really counting on you to watch RadCast every day this week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, because everyone's going to build on the other. Like we're going to go someplace. This train's got someplace to go. And if you miss part of the ride, you won't get to the destination we're all going to get to. So if you haven't yet subscribed or you haven't yet made it part of your morning, please do so. It's up by 6:30 a.m. Eastern time. All right, so let's talk about fear. Two things, two studies I read. One was an article, one was a study. The article that I read yesterday was about Pope John Paul II. He had a recurring phrase and saying in his life, and it was 3 words: be not afraid. Pope John Paul II said, be not afraid all the time. It was like his go-to statement. And if you look through the history and the kind of things that he led the church through and dealt with on a worldwide scale as he was facing evil, be not afraid wasn't just a mantra, it was his way of living. He was surprisingly courageous in difficult times. I thought that was interesting. I parked that over here. And then I read an article right below it. It was a study referring to the fact that human beings may say that they like good news, but that we are automatically drawn to negative news. They did a study of people's eyes, and as they scrolled across a screen filled with all different news stories, their eyes were automatically pulled to the negative. Why? Why is that? Even the most optimistic people are drawn to the negative when it comes to news and other things. What is that about us? So scientists have an answer, and this is the science answer. It's the amygdala, this part of our brain that filters information and is looking for things to be afraid of. It's part of what keeps us safe and alive. Our head is always on a swivel to some degree, and our brain is looking for something that could hurt us or scare us or endanger us, something we might have to run from, like a predator. Maybe there's a mountain lion in the mall. Who knows? So our brains are looking out for us, and it's the amygdala that catches things and draws us to it and says, hey, check this out first before we go any further. So what do you think this does to the human heart if our brain is always looking for something to be afraid of, and our doom scrolling is always full of bad news? What do you think that does to us? Of course, it kindles fear in us. And yet, here's Isaiah 41:10, and God saying, do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. So how do we maintain these two completely different ideas in our lives so that we're not destroyed by fear and yet still aware of the dangers, but ultimately so that we trust God? That's what we're going to talk about this week. So to get the conversation going and to show Facebook and YouTube that this algorithm is worth it, I'm going to ask you to share something in the comments today. Share your phobias. I know you may not want to get vulnerable, and you don't have to, but it's part of what makes us a unique community called RadCast. So I'll tell you my phobia if you tell me yours. My phobia: snakes. I don't like snakes. I don't remember the scientific name for it, but it should be snakeophobia because that's really easy to remember. When I was a kid, I had a pet snake. Now, I hate snakes. The idea of a snake in the house absolutely terrifies me, and I hope that my teenage sons don't use that. You know, now that I think of it, I probably shouldn't have said that. Anyway, join me tomorrow for more RadCast. See you Tuesday. And be not afraid.